Hi, everyone. Welcome to the weekly RV report for this week of Friday, June 6th, 2025. John here. Thanks for joining us and thanks for your patience in waiting for the updates. And if you are new to the channel, please do like, subscribe, and share as it helps the channel grow and others gain in the knowledge you are being afforded, both here and on Telegram. As you know, as a disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor, nor does this constitute as financial advice. It's merely high quality information to be shared with you in order for you to use for your own personal discernment. And now on to the updates. In the nation of Iraq, the Ministry of Commerce, Athir al-Ghahari, revealed that Iraq is making great strides towards joining the WTO, the World Trade Organization. They have completed the 450 technical questions as part of the requirements for joining. Joining the WTO represents a stable business environment to include new investments, particularly in the areas of industrial and agriculture, which will undoubtedly enhance Iraq's economic status internationally. There it is, folks. They're not joining the WTO without a new international rate for their currency. They know it, and more importantly, we know it. The timing, however, is curious with all the optical drama concerning the U.S. and the Iran-Israel conflict. President Trump has called Netanyahu earlier this week in an emergency call, stating that if the offer sent by the U.S. to Tehran, which again is the capital of Iran, is not accepted this week, then the green light will be given for any military action against Iran. This is clearly the optical narrative we were all anticipating for the reset to occur. The whole world will be looking at Israel and not the Middle East, more specifically Iraq, when the grave surrender, per the great word of the late great Kim Clement, and the mistake happens concerning the attacks on Iran's nuclear power plants. The stage, therefore, is being set so clearly now, it's really hard for anyone to miss unless you're completely asleep. So I'm going to show you, as customary on our podcast here for the report, some articles that support that evidence. So let's take a look at that, shall we? And let me get to the right one. Here it is. And this is according to Majid, as you can see earlier this week. Once again, President Trump telling Netanyahu an emergency call that if they didn't take the deal, green light would be given. So the stage is being set for the grave surrender. Now moving on for Vietnam, the news there. According to Echo on X, the Vietnamese dong, as you can see in the article here, fell to its lowest closing price in history against the dollar at $26,059.76. In trading on Forex. This is the devalue to revalue process, yet another inevitable sign of the RV getting ready to publicly happen. Folks, it's a buying opportunity. That's what it's telling you. So if you look at the chart here, you can see it's at its highest point, or for the value against the dollar's value against it. So if you're holding dollars and you're looking to invest in things like the foreign currencies, which you already know, this would be the perfect time to stack more dong. And we're going to tie that into silver in just a moment. Let us continue onward with the updates. Let's drill down a little bit more granularly, specifically with Vietnam, before we go forward. This is the source here is Melania Romanoff. This courtesy of her. Vietnam has witnessed a remarkable surge in foreign investment during the first 5 months of the year, reaching nearly 18.4 billion in GDP, a striking 51% increase year over year, according to the Ministry of Finance's Foreign Investment Agency. The growth reflects renewed international confidence in Vietnam's market resiliency and reform trajectory. Expansion was driven by a robust influx of newly licensed projects, capital adjustments, and a sharp increase in mergers and acquisitions. Specifically, the manufacturing and processing sector remained the dominant magnet for investment, securing over 10.3 billion, while real estate, science, and technology followed close by. Interestingly enough, folks, Singapore, South Korea, and Japan continued to lead as Vietnam's top sources of foreign capital, with Singapore contributing nearly a quarter of the total. Investment flowed across 52 provinces, with Hanoi emerging as the primary destination, thereby surpassing the capital, Ho Chi Minh City, and Bac Ninh. The steady uptick in dispersed capital nearing 8.9 billion underscores not only a deepening commitment from investors, but also Vietnam's growing ability to convert commitments into a tangible economic output. As of May 31st, the country had over 43,000 valid foreign investment projects. This represents a staggering 517 billion in total registered capital. Experts emphasize that foreign investment is a vital engine of Vietnam's GDP growth through capital accumulation, technology, and enhancements, and production management, with the foreign invested sector accounting for roughly 74% of Vietnam's exports and contributing 20.5 billion to the national budget in 2024. Its importance is indisputable. However, economists warn that the benefits remain uneven. Many foreign firms continue to repatriate profits while local companies struggle to integrate with the supply chains. In light of the evolving global dynamics, BRICS, and heightened environmental expectations, Vietnam is being urged to recalibrate its investment strategy. Industry leaders advocate for a new wave of high-tech, eco-conscious projects. While the country's liberal economic policies and strategic location will likely continue to attract foreign capital, the next phase of growth must ensure a deeper domestic U.S. integration and sustainable value creation to fulfill Vietnam's 8% GDP growth. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, John, what does that all mean in layman's terms? Well, it means a number of things. It means Vietnam is the dark horse. It's growing exponentially, and that the U.S. is getting ready with its Indo-Pacific investment of $1 trillion 4 years, well, almost 5 years ago under Trump and Pompeo in his first term, is getting ready to pay dividends alongside the dinar. It also means really that BRICS is really putting a spotlight on them to be one of the forerunners of the countries that really burgeon with their economies and specifically their foreign currency investments. Because remember, China and Russia have MOUs with Vietnam just as they do Iraq. That's the crux of what we're sharing. Okay, let's go to the nation of Zimbabwe and let's get over to that. And we have here Mr. Nelson Chamisa, you know quite well. He's been putting out more and more visible posts on X like this one I'm going to play in a minute. He's letting the world know he'll be back sooner than later. Zimbabwe is about to emerge from the ashes, shocking the false narrative by the fake news that Africa as a continent, specifically Zimbabwe as a country, are poor when we know better. Hard to say that nonsense when Zimbabwe represents over 10% of the world's water supply, 40% of the world's gold supply, and over 90% of the platinum and chromium on the earth, as well as a large portion of the world's lithium or white gold supply. Now, with the aforementioned video clip, let's take a look at this brief video excerpt to see what Mr. Chamisa has to say specifically to the world.
Hello, Zimbabwe. How are you? Please be steady, be calm, and of course, more importantly, know that I love you. And thank you for loving me. I will never disappoint you. The time is coming, and that time is not far. I thank you. Be blessed. God is.
Okay, so what that's really telling you is his inevitability of return is coming back quicker and quicker, as we've sort of discussed before. Now I'd like to share with you folks on the commodity side some very important information. So just bear with me a moment as we shift to that screen. And we get to that. Okay, so the Kobisi letter is showing that silver is up 24% year over year. And the commodities market reflects that with the aforementioned or the following post of what we normally do at this point, gold, silver, and crude oil. And at the time of this broadcast, crude oil is trading at $64.23, up slightly. Gold is down just a tick at $3,352.20. But the real winner, as we've all been anticipating, silver is at $36.05, approaching its all-time highs again, which it did last year, around $36.50, I want to say. And the dollar index is at 99.04. But a couple days ago, it was at its lowest point earlier this week at $97.85. So what that tells you is silver is a massive buying opportunity. Doesn't matter if you get junk silver, eagles, bars, just get it while you can, because again, gold is the people's money. Gold is the economy's money, and there's plenty of that. There's an infinite supply, but silver is the people's money, and there's a finite supply of that, specifically because it's going, as you know, into AI, robotics, and manufacturing, we've talked about many times before. Now I'd like to turn your attention to a couple other key articles. This is a really nice one that 100 Trillion's put up. As we know, President Trump has been holding IQD all along, and this proves it once again. He is holding it through different forms, paper, it's prophecy. The GCR, Global Currency Reset, is tuning like a symphony. And here's the play. If Trump held it and this company, Banknote World, slabbed it and the plug got it, then the move is simple. Secure and stack and get ready for takeoff. Here's a video excerpt, as you can see, just of an example of some $10,000 uncirculated notes. And no, folks, it doesn't matter if you have circulated or uncirculated. There was a time where we thought it did. It doesn't matter anymore. As long as it's legitimate and you've blacklit it, you're going to be fine. It's very simple. Don't overthink it. Okay. Here is Ariel on X talking about Iraq 5-day public holiday for Eid al-Adha, which is coming up tomorrow as of this broadcast. So what does that mean? That means that they have to have their budget in. They probably already have it in, and they just are not telling us. Surprise, surprise. But they have to have their during this holiday period, starting today on the time of this broadcast, which is June 6th, Friday, from today through next week, they have to have this all buttoned up because they are getting ready to come back to the international stage. And to do that, you have to join the WTO, pass all the important laws, get rid of the corruption. This is the optical thing. We believe that they've probably already done a lot of this behind the scenes already. And this is just another marker in the seminal markers of what we are anticipating. But this is a critical time with that budget because it does have a couple more years left on it to secure as Iran is pulled away from Iraq. Okay, and again, here's a silver article. Here's one of the last things we want to show you. This is Pascal Nagy on X. The largest transfer of wealth is on the way, Jassara. So there's going to be talk of bank runs and cyber attacks. Don't be distracted by that. Don't let that fear porn you. This is all a necessary step for the optical illusions of things that have to happen for the said reset to occur. They want you looking over here and not here. We need to be counterintuitive to what the world is doing. I think you know that. And here is the optical timestamp for today, so you know this was done in real time on Friday. So that concludes this week's RV report. Thank you for being patient. We will queue up podcasts starting again next week, starting with the one and only Nick Veniamin. And we are bringing a very special guest, B, who I've had on my podcast before. You know his exemplary cogent knowledge when it comes to the old system and how that relates to and correlates to the new system that we're walking into, where those two worlds intersect. He's a master at it and very humble, I might add. He's going to be coming on with me to Nick to articulate to them what you folks already know with the latest updates. So please don't miss that one. All right, take care. Have a great weekend. Be safe in whatever you're doing. Enjoy the solemnity and the remembrance of today, D-Day. God bless. Take care. As always, goodbye for now.